We're taught to trust the police, to believe they're the ones keeping us safe and holding the bad guys accountable. But what happens when the people in uniform are the ones breaking the law? If you're still wondering, let's start with a case where officers harassed and profiled the very people they were meant to protect.
And we were kind of concerned, seeing somebody dump a bunch of stuff there. So,
okay.
Don't run it. Don't run my car.
Emmanuel Olawale, a black attorney and US citizen, was on his own property, legally taking out trash, nothing more. Yet, two officers from the Westerville Police Department approached him and accused him of illegal dumping.
Here's my business card.
In Westerville, Ohio, that is lawyer Emmanuel Olawale. On his own law office property, he is dumping out trash.
all right. Huh?
Show you my ID.
If you don't mind, just so, if you don't mind, can we see your ID?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Well, that is pretty cool.
That's a slick business card.
But instead of backing off, the officers escalated the situation. They demanded his driver's license, and Olawale, fully cooperating, handed it over. Then came the part that crossed the line, not just ethically, but legally. One of the officers attempted to run a background check on Olawale, despite the fact that he was not suspected of any crime. Olawale rightfully objected, informing them that running his ID in this context was illegal.
All right. I'll give it to him. You can keep doing what you're doing. We're just, again, we were kind of concerned, seeing somebody dump a bunch of stuff there. So,
Okay.
Don't run it. Don't run my car. Don't run my ID.
Huh?
Don't run my ID.
Don't run your ID?
I have no reason to.
He is right.
well, we're going to at least mark it down. We're going to take down your information.
Nope. I'm on my property, putting trash in mine.
Okay. But this is not just your property. It's several people's property.
I understand.
Okay.
But I'm not violating any law. So don't
No
run
one
my
said that
ID.
you're violating any law.
No. Don't run my ID. I'm a lawyer. I know my rights.
Okay.
I'm not violating any law. I'm on my property. There's no suspicion. No one called anybody. So don't run my ID. I only identified myself so that this won't escalate.
That's fine. But we can still mark down who we're out with. And so that's what we're going to do.
No.
Yes.
You didn't stop me. Don't turn this into an issue.
Sir, you are turning this into an issue. We're just simply marking down who we're out with.
Yeah.
So he's just going to write it down on a piece of
Oh,
paper.
it's just your name.
Why?
Because, sir, we are out with you because we were concerned that you were illegally dumping.
But you've already discovered. Do you want me to show you my office?
I understand that you're here, but I don't know if this dumpster belongs to you or somebody else in the
It belongs
complex.
to me.
To you and you alone.
Yes.
Can you prove that that dumpster belongs to you and you alone?
No, he does not have to prove he owns the
That's my point,
dumpster.
though, is if it's also other units.
So what? It belongs to everybody. We're paying for
Okay.
it. It doesn't really matter if it belongs to all the unit.
That's fine.
Just give me back my ID. Thank you.
But the officers did it anyway. Once the facts became public, the city of Westerville was forced to investigate the officers' conduct. Because what happened wasn't just a misunderstanding, it was a violation of rights, a breach of public trust, and a case of law enforcers acting like lawbreakers. Now to Delaware, where two officers tried to silence a citizen for exercising his constitutional rights.
Man jumping in traffic, when did you witness this offense? Don't you came to me. You came to me. You came to me. You came to me.
On March 11th, 2022, Jonathan Guessford was exercising his First Amendment right, peacefully holding up a sign on the side of a Delaware road, warning drivers of a nearby police speed trap. It was a simple act of free speech, but to two Delaware State Police troopers, it was seen as a threat, not to public safety, but to department revenue.
Road, legally parked with a sign which is protected by the First Amendment. So you can, I'm disrupting nothing. I'm gonna do it right here where I'm at. Oh, I'm not?
Why have drivers coming up to me telling me that you're jumping out in traffic?
Because apparently they're erroneous. I don't give a what somebody else says. What did you witness? Nothing of the sort. So keep your to yourself, pal.
The man behind the camera is Jonathan Guessford of Smyrna, Delaware, who was holding up a sign warning drivers of a police speed trap ahead, prompting these two state troopers here to try to prevent Guessford from taking too much revenue away from the department, but this is just the start of Officer Stephen Douglas's and Officer Nicholas Gallo's misconduct.
Trooper Stephen Douglas and Nicholas Gallo didn't take kindly to it. They approached Gesford and falsely accused him of jumping into traffic, a charge with no basis in reality. The encounter quickly escalated when Trooper Gallo forcefully snatched the sign right out of Gesford's hands. It was an aggressive move, completely unprovoked, completely unlawful, and a direct attempt to suppress protected speech.
Away, road pirate. Go away, road pirates.
Have to mention how hilarious of a nickname Road Pirate is for the police before going forward, you know.
You keep saying jumping in traffic. When did you witness this offense? Don't you came to me. You came to me. You came to me. You came to me.
Tell me that you're jumping out in front of them with the sign.
So they want to lick your boots. Let them. Don't put your hands on me. Do not. Give me my property back. You piece of. Give me my property back. You see this? You tyrant piece of. You tyrant. What are your badge numbers?
Step back, okay?
No,
Don't walk up
no,
to me
you
like that.
stole my property.
Did you see anything in my hands?
You
stole your
piece
property?
of.
But the abuse didn't stop there. Hours later, Gesford was pulled over again by the same troopers. This time, their reason? He had flipped his middle finger at them while driving by. In a stunning abuse of authority, they cited him for disorderly conduct. But here's the truth. Giving the finger to a police officer is not a crime. It is clearly protected under the First Amendment, confirmed by multiple court rulings across the country.
The reason I stopped you is you had your hand out the window with.
So what?
Finger.
So what? It's constitutionally protected speech.
Is there a reason why you're doing that? Is there a reason why you're doing that?
Trooper Douglas pulls the man over again for apparently flipping off Master Corporal Rayford Box.
You're stopping me for constitutionally protected speech, right?
Because you had your hand out the window.
This is what I did. You got a problem with that?
Sir, listen to me. Listen to me.
No.
All right, listen.
Go away.
That's disorderly conduct.
No, it is not.
That is disorderly
That
conduct.
is called
If you were doing it out
freedom
in the
of
public,
speech.
If you are out in the public, you are out in the public and people see you.
No, it is not.
Here's what's going to happen.
No.
License, please.
No.
Here's what's going to happen.
I want your supervisor, please.
I am the supervisor. I am the supervisor.
License,
And that's why
please.
I'm here.
I'm going to reach into my pocket and get
You're
my
fine.
license.
You're fine.
And I'm going to take you to
You're fine.
court.
But here's what I'm saying. Take it to court. That's what I want you to do. That's what I
License,
want you. I want you to take it to court.
So
License,
but
please.
before we go any farther, you're pulling me over for what?
Because
For
you had
disorderly conduct.
Because you had your finger
Disorderly
out the window.
conduct
Now,
what?
here's what's about to happen. You're about to be arrested again for resisting arrest.
No, I'm not resisting
Yes,
anything.
well, yeah. Right
No.
now you're being detained.
For
okay?
what?
You're being
I
detained.
told you why I stopped you already, sir.
For putting my middle finger up. That's
Yeah,
correct?
no,
correct.
No,
Exactly.
for-
Right.
You extended your arm out the window.
No, I had my
Yes,
middle
you
finger
did.
out the window.
Okay, let me get your ID.
You had your middle finger out the window, okay.
And if that wasn't enough, body cam footage would later reveal that before pulling him over, the troopers conspired in their vehicle, discussing what they could legally charge him with, actively fishing for a justification to detain him. That wasn't law enforcement, that was retaliation, and it was illegal.
He stuck his middle finger out of the road, out of the window. Okay. What's that? What's that? We could lock him up for disorderly conduct. He probably won't go anywhere. Nah. What's isn't it like a improper hand signal or something? Charge. No, I mean like if you stick your finger, I'm telling you, if you put your arm out the road, your hand out the road, and you're like with a middle finger, you could. That's like a, isn't that? I'm pretty sure. You sure about that?
That was Trooper Douglas caught on dashcam audio appearing to conspire with another officer about what charges they can legally bring against the driver.
Stuck his arm out the window with his middle finger. Okay. As he was driving by, like, oh, game on. Okay.
I mean, he pulled him over for it, like giving him the middle finger.
Yeah, for giving him middle finger. So
Yeah, you can't do that. That'll get dropped.
yeah, it's gonna get thrown. I told him that's gonna get thrown out, but it's just going, it's gonna cause the problem. He's gonna mess up eventually. He's gonna do something really stupid, and then we are gonna be able to really lock him up.
Something stupid, like, parked in the roadway.
Right. Right.
You know, something like that that'll apply. Unfortunately, I mean, you can't. We can't pull people over. We can't write them tickets for telling us to fuck off or giving us the middle finger and stuff like that. And, you know, that's their right to do so. But all right, I'll do some more work up on this guy, and I'll pass it on.
And then number two, you know, we have no real basis to write him. It's gonna get thrown out anyway. You know that it's gonna get thrown out. The hand gesture thing, it's not. It doesn't count for finger. You know, for fingers, middle fingers. So.
It doesn't count for sticky hand on doing middle finger.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. Well, at least it's inconvenient for you guys.
Right. So now, So he's going to do something stupid one day where we are going to be able to lock him up for disorderly conduct, or and I just wish we had the witness and even had it on video.
Guessford is now suing the Delaware State Police after the bogus hand gesture, alleging that his constitutional rights were violated by the troopers. We'll keep you updated as the lawsuit unfolds.
They had no lawful basis to detain Guessford. No crime had been committed, but they acted anyway, violating his constitutional rights in broad daylight. Guessford knew this and took action. He filed a lawsuit against the officers for violating his civil liberties. This wasn't just an overreach. It was a case of law enforcers turning into lawbreakers. Officers sworn to uphold the Constitution chose to ignore it instead, simply because they didn't like being called out. This next case is heartbreaking, a young life lost, and the truth nearly buried under lies.
So in response, Officer Roy fired 3 rounds into a vehicle. Inside the vehicle was 15-year-old Jordan Edwards. He was unarmed, but
May 5th, 2017, what began as a routine 911 call about underage drinking ended in a tragic, unlawful killing of a 15-year-old boy. Officer Roy Oliver, a Texas police officer, responded to the scene of a party. He claimed he heard gunfire and, without hesitation or proper assessment, fired 3 rounds into a moving car. Inside that vehicle was Jordan Edwards, a black teenager, completely unarmed, trying to leave the party with his friends. One of those bullets hit him in the head. What followed was not just devastating, it was deceptive. Officers on the scene immediately fabricated a story, claiming the car had been aggressively driving toward them, a classic attempt to justify deadly force. But there was one thing they hadn't considered: body cam footage. That footage told a very different story. The car wasn't speeding toward the officers, it was driving away.
At first, the police said Jordan's car was driving towards them in an aggressive manner, but after reviewing the body cam footage, it turned out the car was driving away from the cops. As a result of this, Roy Oliver was fired from the police force. But of course, Jordan's family and
the narrative spun by law enforcement fell apart under scrutiny. The truth was clear: there was no threat, no weapon, and no justification. This was unlawful use of deadly force, followed by an attempted cover-up by fellow officers who chose to protect one of their own instead of seeking justice for a child. But this time, the system responded. After a thorough investigation, Officer Roy Oliver was convicted of murder, a rare outcome in cases involving police shootings. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison for the killing of Jordan Edwards.
Was charged, and an arrest warrant was put out. He turned himself in to the cops the same day, and in 2018 was found guilty.
Jordan's death was a tragedy, but it also exposed something deeper. When officers violate the law, and when their colleagues lie to cover it up, accountability becomes a fight, not a guarantee. This case wasn't just about a trigger being pulled, it was about the deadly consequences of dishonesty, bias, and unchecked power, and the demand for justice that followed. If you thought police misconduct stopped at abuse of power, this next officer took things to an unimaginable level.
New Jersey cop, but in 2013 he set fire to his own police captain's house. Michael Dertro used 2
In 2013, Michael Dotro, a New Jersey police officer, committed an unthinkable act, not against a criminal, but against his own commanding officer. In a calculated and vengeful move, Dotro set fire to his police captain's home. He didn't just toss a match, he used 2 massive jars of gasoline, making it clear this was no accident. It was arson, and it was personal.
Michael Dotro was a New Jersey cop, but in 2013 he set fire to his own police captain's house. Michael Dotro used 2 massive jugs of gasoline and set fire to Captain Mark Endurko's house. He wanted to end the life of—
But here's what makes it even more chilling. 5 people were inside the house at the time. The police captain, his wife, his 2 young children, and his 92-year-old mother were all asleep as the flames consumed their home. And why did Dotro do it? Because he was ordered to undergo a psychological evaluation, a consequence of his own behavior, which included bullying fellow officers, harassing staff, and racking up multiple complaints of excessive force. Instead of accountability, he chose revenge.
At the time, his wife, his 2 kids, and his 92-year-old mother were all inside the house. Captain Endurko's house was—
The fire didn't claim any lives, thankfully, but the damage was extensive, and the betrayal unforgivable. But this wasn't the only skeleton in Dotro's closet. After a thorough investigation, authorities uncovered a litany of criminal activity. He was ultimately charged with 17 different offenses, including buying narcotics while on duty, possessing illegal weapons like brass knuckles and clubs, and even slashing a female co-worker's thighs.
Eventually, Michael was charged with 17 other offenses, including buying narcotics while on duty, having illegal weapons like brass knuckles and clubs, and even slashing the tires of one of his female co-workers. Michael Dotro's wife was also arrested and charged. She gave false information during the investigation, and also helped Michael.
Michael Dotro wasn't just a bad cop, he was a walking danger with a badge. This case wasn't about misconduct. It was about a man given authority and using it to terrorize, retaliate, and break the law at every turn. And it serves as a stark reminder, when accountability is delayed, destruction often follows. And finally, one of the most horrific betrayals of public trust we've ever seen. An officer who used his badge to prey on the vulnerable.
Would go to poor areas to seek out victims. He would assault these women, especially ones with criminal records, believing—
Between 2013 and 2014, Daniel Holtzclaw specifically targeted vulnerable women, most of them from low-income neighborhoods, and many with criminal records. People he thought society wouldn't believe. He used his position of authority to intimidate, sexually assault, and manipulate these women during traffic stops and street encounters. It was predatory, calculated, and deeply corrupt.
Insanely corrupt cop worked for the Oklahoma Police Department, committing his crimes in 2013 and 14. He would go to poor areas to seek out victims. He would assault these women, especially ones with criminal records, believing they'd be less likely to report him to the cops.
But his trail of abuse didn't stay hidden forever. One brave woman finally stepped forward, reporting that Holtzclaw had assaulted her during a stop. The report cracked the case wide open. Investigators launched a deep probe into Holtzclaw's conduct, and what they uncovered was shocking. A pattern of systematic abuse carried out under the guise of law enforcement.
Eventually, one woman did come forward, saying that Daniel assaulted her during a traffic stop. This began a massive investigation, where Daniel's abuse of power was exposed. Many victims then came forward to say that Daniel Holtzclaw did the same thing to them. He would use his power as a cop to intimidate and manipulate them. He would also demand certain intimate favors in exchange for not arresting women.
In the end, justice caught up with him. Holtzclaw was found guilty on 18 counts. The court handed down a 263-year prison sentence, a punishment that reflects the gravity of his crimes.
On 18 counts. He cried as he was sentenced to 263 years in prison. It's safe to say Daniel is one of the most corrupt cops of all time, but thankfully he is now behind bars and can't get his hands on any more.
When those meant to protect us become the ones violating our rights, who holds them accountable? How many voices go unheard? And how much injustice goes unseen? Like, share, subscribe, and comment, because the conversation starts with awareness, but real change, that starts with you.